Hey everybody, welcome to Dead End Street. I'm Al. This episode, we're going to take a look at the top 25 albums of 1981, going forward with our top 25 of the year series. We started with 79, 80, marching forward. 1981, another really solid year. So without further ado, let's take a look at what we got. Number 25 is going to be Prayers on Fire by Birthday Party. This record is absolutely bonkers. Um, you feel assaulted, you feel violated. You want to take a shower, get a cup of warm milk and a blanket, and pray for it to be okay. But it's never okay in Birthday Party world now, is it? Ever. Number 24 is going to be the Stranglers with La Folie. But the Stranglers take a more psychedelic pop approach with this record, with a little dash of new wave in there too. The title track and Golden Brown, of course, are obvious highlights of the record. And there was a standalone single that year called Strange Little Girl, which it's a shame it couldn't have been included on this record, would have made it a much stronger record. So then number 23, we have The Church with Of Skins and Heart. So with their debut record, they have more of a jangly pop sound, even though it's a little bit more, little kind of a mood to it than most jangled pop records. They haven't quite made it into that dreamy psychedelic sound that they would become known for with later records. But nonetheless, it's gained quite the following over the last couple of years, maybe 10 years or so. And the singles "Never She Said" and the "Unguarded Moment," which was a huge hit for them back home, were really solid start for them. Number 22 is going to be the Stranglers with Gospel According to Men in Black. Yes, his second Stranglers album in 1981. However, these records are absolutely nothing alike, other than the fact that it's the same artist on the title, on the front cover of the record. This record finds our heroes, Jean-Jacques and Hugh, shot up with a shit ton of heroin, completely paranoid, and talking to space aliens. Completely mental, and it's glorious. It's a great record. Number 21 is going to be The Garden by John Foxx, the former frontman and founder of Ultravox. This is his second solo record, first being Metamatic, which just missed 1980. I think this record showcases John Foxx's vocals more so than Metamatic did, which is a welcome addition because I think he's got a great voice, and I didn't think he was utilizing it as much. The acoustic drums on this one really fill the sound out nicely. Standout tracks for me are Europe After the Rain, Systems of Romance, and Walk Away. All great tracks. Number 20 is Moving Pictures by Rush. So Rush leaves their bloated prog tendencies behind and move for a more streamlined sound that has more in common with the Police and the aforementioned Ultravox than they do with Yes or Genesis or anything like that. The majority of this record would become mainstays in their set lists for decades. You know, you have Tom Sawyer, Limelight, Red Barchetta, YYZ. I mean, it's the whole album, really. And not to mention, the album takes me back to being 7 years old and hanging out in my old neighborhood with my friend. It's a great happy place record, always will be. Number 19 is going to be What's This For, the second record by Killing Joke. What's This For became the template for what would eventually become industrial music, to my ears anyway. It's, you listen to Ministry and Mitzareb and Front 2 for 2, and it's there. I think those records all owe a great deal of gratitude to Killing Joke for paving the roads and kicking down doors for this style of music. This record builds off the debut and sets them up for what I believe is their is at their peak this next 4 album run. Number 18 is Public Image Limited with Flowers of Romance. After the second record, Metal Box, Wobble jump ship and leaves Keith Levine basically to record all the instruments on the record. Most of the drums, all of the bass, except for a couple of songs, I think. Um, and this album is by far the darkest Public Image record. It's just a very menacing sound. And on 4 of the tracks, and it's quite obvious which ones they are by listening to them, you know, the great Martin Atkins and his first stint with Public Image. The man's an absolute monster on the kit. This is the last Pill record, I believe, from the true classic era. There's plenty of other great moments after this, but this one was the last truly dangerous sounding Public Image Limited record. And the title track will always be a top 5 Public Image song for me. Number 17 is going to be Talk, Talk, Talk by Psychedelic Furs. The first second offering is unique in that it combines the darker moments of the first record with some more pop-like tendencies that you would hear on their subsequent releases. Truly excellent balance and some really great songs in there. Number 16 is going to be English Settlement by XTC. After using Black Sea, the previous record, as a springboard, with English Settlement, XTC makes a sharp turn away from the jittery earlier records to a more lush songwriting focus, which pays off big time and sets them on a trajectory to create some of their best work going forward. Number 15 is Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark, better known as OMD, with Architecture and Morality. A lot of music biz elitists and intelligentsia like to shit on OMD a lot, I feel, especially from reading the reviews and whatnot. Probably because they aren't hardcore drug addicts and they don't obsess on politics. But the truth is, they are, not were, a great group. They were way ahead of the curve when it comes to synths and drum machines and what would become synth pop or whatever. And they were ahead of Depeche Mode and New Order even by 2-3 years. These first 3 or so OMD records have some really, really good songs on them. If you just kind of know them as the If You Leave Pretty in Pink band, give them another shot, especially these early records. And their last 2 records have been actually very good also, right there on par with those early records. And from what I understand, they stole the show at the Darker Waves Fest, which had some of the biggest new wave and post-punk acts of all time on that bill. Number 14 is Hanoi Rocks with Bangkok Shocks, Saigon Shakes, Hanoi Rocks debut record. So I'm going to make one thing clear right now, just to get this out of the way. Hanoi Rocks is not, and never was, nor never will be, a hair metal band. They're not even remotely metal. They're not from LA. They're not even from the UK. They're from Finland. And if you listen to them with your ears, not your eyes, you'll find that they have much more in common with the Clash or the Dead Boys or the New York Dolls than they do with a Motley Crue or a Van Halen. So with that out of the way, this record is full of some sensationally filthy rock and roll music that would go on to influence many great artists going forward, including Jesse Malin, Libertines, Manic Street Preachers. If you've dismissed Hanoi Rocks over the years and you like any of the acts that I've mentioned here, Clash, Dead Boys, whatever. Definitely check out the Hanoi Rocks records. On this album in particular, check out 11th Street Kids, Village Girl, and Tragedy. Number 13 is going to be Fourth Drawer Down by synth pop duo The Associates. Billy McKenzie, man, what a voice. Wow. So this song from the last record, the songs get darker and more intense. One song in particular called Girl Named Property. There's an amazing vocal performance by Billy McKenzie on this record. Another track called Kitchen Person, killer guitar riff by his bandmate Alan Rankin, who is a multi-instrumentalist, super talented. That song, I mean, if you had your ear, if you had looked away and not heard the vocals, you might have thought it was a Bauhaus song. And if you like this record, just wait till you hear the next one. Number 12 is going to be Mesh and Lace by Modern English. So if you're looking for an I'll Melt With You on this record, you're not going to find it. This record is really kind of reminds you of like a spaced out Joy Division meets Hawkwind. It's a very strange marriage, but it really works. Another band, if you can please not let them be defined by one song. The early records and their recent records deserve more respect than that. If you haven't already done so, check out my Modern English album ranking video. I'll put a link in the description. Number 11 is going to be Solid Gold by Gang of Four. For how much I love and for all the praise that Gang of Four gets for the debut record Entertainment, I gotta say I prefer this one. I think Solid Gold is a better record than Entertainment. I might be in the minority with that, but I just think it's a thicker sounding record, has more groove, it's more realized, the songwriting is tighter. Andy Gill, the guitarist, just completely shreds on this record. Like not in a metal kind of way, but like literally sounds like he's shredding the guitar and the strings. So awesome. And Hugo Burnham is just really just one of the best drummers in the universe. Period. And if you need proof of that, just listen to his drumming on What We All Want and the other awesome tracks, Y Theory, and If I Could Keep It All for Myself. Rage Against the Machine, the Chili Peppers, and many others have tried to copy this great band. They don't come close. They're timeless. The classic. Number 10 is going to be Heaven Up Here by Echo and the Bunnymen. So the second Bunnymen record is darker, it's thicker, more powerful than Crocodiles. Though Mac and Will Sargent and Les Pattinson are all fantastic on this record. The true star of the record is Pete DeFreitas. Is an absolute beast. I mean, what a great drummer. Show of Strength is one of the greatest album openers of all time. All My Colors is a once forgotten fan favorite, but his return the band is resurrected and pretty much made a set list staple out of it over the last few years. Beautiful stuff. Great album. Number 9 is going to be Trust by Elvis Costello and the Attractions. I'll never understand why this record gets glossed over when talking about the Attractions classic period. It has some of his most well-written songs like Clubland, You'll Never Be a Man, New Lace Sleeves, all classic Attractions tracks. All the musicians on this are in rare form. So let's give more love to Trust, shall we? Number 8 is Fiction Tales by Modern Eon. So this band inexplicably released only one record, and it's a total banger. It has a really cold, uncomfortable production sound, kind of icy and hovering. Lots of weird scraping noises and breathing and slamming doors and creepy footsteps going on in the background. It's really unique, but the songs are also incredibly well written. The vocalist, Alex Plain, must have been an influence on Perry Farrell at some point because the voice is really uncanny. When you listen to him, you can't help but to kind of hear Perry Farrell. I love every track on this record. The band broke up just months after its release, which is an absolute tragedy. They're so obscure that at this point, vinyl copies of this record are going for a small fortune online. Um, Trust me, I know I had to sell 4 records to get one of them, but it was well worth it. Great, great album. Number 7 is Movement by New Order. Musically, I think everyone can pretty much agree that this is pretty much the third Joy Division record. Much of that having to do with them being leftover songs from before Ian had passed, and the fact that Martin Hannett is still on the board. Um, Even the melody lines are generally what you would hear, what you would imagine Ian would have done with the lyrics. It's just that the lyrical content is part of the difference here. Um, Moving forward, it become quite a different band, and it had to be done. Ian was gone, and they couldn't continue trying to be Joy Division. Uh, Movement is still a very good record, especially the hymn, uh, Doubts Even Here, uh, and really Ceremony and In a Lonely Place really should have been included on this record. They could have fit because it was only 8 tracks, so just 2 more would have made it, would have just fit just fine. Number 6 is Mask by Bauhaus. Bauhaus builds on the foundation of the first record, um, In the Flat Field, and creates an ever so slightly more structured set of songs. And the results are excellent. The Passion of Lovers is just the perfect encapsulation of what Bauhaus is at this time. Hollow Hills, complete with Daniel Ash playing what sounds like a guitar with a bow through a delay and a flanger. It's such a great sound, and with one of Peter Murphy's greatest vocal performances, phenomenal. Kick in the Eye sounds like something off of Station to Station by Bowie, and the title track starts out brooding, and you would never know by listening to it how it would end. And it ends in this absolutely beautiful sound. So much classic stuff on here. Killer. Number 5 is going to be Faith by The Cure. So in the second installment of the Dark Trilogy, as Robert Smith sometimes refers to it, the Cure goes deeper into the abyss. It differs from 17 Seconds in that they explore a bit more of the space and provide more atmosphere, uh, a bit more claustrophobic and smothering than 17 Seconds also. Just side one alone with Holy Hour and Primary, Other Voices, and All Cats and Ray. It's just some of their is at that point is I think their best work to date. If you think this record is dark and depressing and hopeless, you haven't heard anything yet, wait to the album after this one. It'll shatter what little precious hopes you have left. Number 4 is going to be Tin Drum by Japan. You've watched my videos. If you've watched any of these videos previously, you know how much I love this group. I've said it before, I'm saying it again. They're so ahead of their time. Incredible mix of wailing guitars and intricate electronic drum beats over Asian style percussion, mind-boggling bass playing by Mick Karn, of course, and David Sylvian, who is just a one-of-a-kind, top-notch artist. Canton might be my favorite all-time instrumental. I'm not even thinking about whether it's an instrumental while I'm listening to it. Still Life in Mobile Homes, Vision of China, all stellar. And in my humble opinion, I think the track Ghosts is their crowning achievement. That second verse alone, just impeccable moving songwriting. I just can't believe they broke up after this record. An easy number one in like 37 other years, but not in 1981. Number three is going to be From the Lion's Mouth, from The Sound. The fact that this group did not reach superstardom truly hurts my heart. Um, Stated in the 1980 video that only one or two records leaves me with that icy, chilling feeling that the Closer record by Joy Division gives me. Um, and this is one of those records. It's just an incredibly haunting listen in spots. It literally makes me kind of nauseous in a couple of spots. But you just can't stop listening. It's gripping. Um, right out of the box, right out of the gate, you have the opener Winning, which is about as positive as the record gets. Sense of Purpose is great. Contact Fact, Skeletons, great. Judgment, wow. Fatal Flaw, to me, is Adrian Borland's equivalent to Joy Division's Decades, in my opinion. And I don't say that lightly. I mean, to me, that's one of the greatest songs I've ever heard. So, Silent Air is a really touching track, and New Dark Age is so incredibly ominous, yet it still rocks. That guitar screech in the middle is just absolutely awesome, and he replicates it like 6 times, which it's amazing. I mean, how many takes that must have taken, but it also contains one of my favorite verses there at the end. Number two is going to be Sleep No More by Comsat Angels. In a just world, this is a band who is in the same stature as, say, U2, a band who was greatly influenced by Comsat Angels, I might add, especially this particular record. But alas, there's not. So the music contained on this record is nothing short of magical to me. The thunderous drums by Mick Glacier, the soundscapes and textures created on the guitar by Stephen Fellows are just mesmerizing. And the songs, every single track, I Dance, Gone, Dark Parade, Diagram, Restless, the opening guitar riff in Goat of the West, it's just amazing. And the drums on Light Years, the drums on the track Be Brave. Be Brave should be one of the biggest songs of the decade, in my opinion. It's just such an awesome song. And also, I mean, there's also some non-album singles from that year that if you like this record, if you go to go check it out if you're not familiar with it, or if you already know the record, go check out the non-album singles, Eye of the Lens, and a couple of, and I think there's 2 B-sides in that song too. And the amazing thing is they are still not on any streaming services in the US. And that's just fucking criminal. It just is. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm done. So here we are, about to reveal the number one record. But before I do that, and I'd like to do this going forward, is I'd like to name a few records that just missed the list, because there's so many and it's so hard to get every. I mean, in these years here, 25 just isn't enough. In the 90s, I'll probably be struggling to find 25. But here in the early 80s, it's really tough. So, English Beat with Wappin', Alice Cooper, Special Forces, The Slits, Return of the Giant Slits, The Saints, Monkey Puzzle, Elvis Costello with Almost Blue, which is a great cover record of country songs. Soft Cell with Nonstop Erotic Cabaret. Mission of Burma, Signals, Calls, and Marches probably would have made the list, but it's an EP. I gotta kind of have to stick. I'm going to stick with the whole full album thing. And Grace Jones Nightclubbing is a good record it just missed. So the number one record for the year for me is going to be Juju by Susie and the Banshees. So here we have an album that I hold very dear to my heart for a few reasons. It's my all-time favorite record. It is. It's my all-time favorite record by my all-time favorite group, by my all-time favorite lineup of my all-time favorite group. Um, so I'll keep this short. Um, I was in my senior year of high school, and I had skipped school, and we were at a friend's house who had a really great record collection. And at the time, I was just kind of like I was dipping my foot into like some indie stuff and some alternative stuff, dipping my foot into the pool. But I was for the most part, a classic rock and metal guy up until that point. And I had and this record was put on when we were all sitting around hanging out, and it just it just changed everything. I had never heard anything like it. It was magical to me. Uh, it's the greatest work by my favorite guitarist, John McGeoch. Uh, the Arrival Party for the most overlooked drummer in rock history, in my opinion, Budgie. Steven Severin, a great bassist and just as an integral part to the Banshees. Susie herself. And the Queen, well, this is where she finally found her true vocal abilities. This record's not an emotional journey. It's a clinic in musical suspense and ferocity. The sheer ferocity and confidence in these tracks is astounding. In my youth, as you can tell by my musical taste, as you probably were, if you have the same musical taste and you're still watching this, um, things were different for you, right? So for me, if Joy Division was my cave where I went to hide, and The Cure was my blanket, keep me secure, and the Smiths were my compass, then the Banshees were my army. Uh, their music gave me the confidence to be the utter weirdo I wanted to be. Forever grateful. Um, I really like the original lineup of the Banshees, I do, but this absolutely destroys it and leaves it the rest, in my opinion. Any guitarist out there, I defy you to try and play Spellbound all the way through without any flubs. You may be able to do it, but you're not going to be able to do it the first night. Into the Light is hypnotizing with John McGeoch's Evo work and his playing with what is called the Gizmo gadget. If you're not sure what that is, look it up. It's pretty fascinating. Arabian Nights is throbbing and twisted. Monitor is tribal and stomping. Susie's lyrics in Night Shift are downright terrifying. Sin in My Heart is sexy and dissonant and defiant and vicious. All four of them are killing it at once on this record. McGeoch's Evo work is ghostly, as I had mentioned. I could go on all day about Juju. I really could. I really, really could. So I'll stop there, finally. If you haven't heard it, find yourself best speakers or earbuds and just sit back and enjoy Real McCoy. So that's it. That's 1981. Have any comments or anything you think I may have left out? If you like the list, leave some comments in the comment section. Like, subscribe, click the bell for notifications. We're going to be doing a Jesus and Mary Chain album ranking coming up in the next few days, maybe even just maybe a week. And if you haven't checked out, we had a lot of fun doing it. We had a March Madness tournament for both classic alt rock and one for hard rock and metal. They're really a lot of fun. Please check them out. They're a little bit longer, but it's well worth it. It's have a lot of fun with them. So thanks a lot. See you next time on Dead End Street.